Hi guys, this is my nephew Matt. He just arrived
Hi.
from the Philippines, so we're gonna ask questions about how easy it is to travel from the Philippines to California. Here we are. Hi Matt. So let us know about what's the procedure and requirements from traveling to US to US from the Philippines.
Okay, so I arrived here last Friday, so I'm on my fourth day now. So it's actually very easy, but you have to check on your destination. If it's in the United States, you have to check the CDC website for each particular state that you're going to. For example, I'm going to California, so I have to check that. So here in California, for now, there are no travel restrictions, so anyone can come as long as you have your four basic requirements from the Philippines. So first is a round trip ticket. You have to have that. You cannot have a one-way ticket. It has to be a round trip if you're using a tourist visa. And then next, you have to have your travel insurance.
Okay.
Travel and health insurance covering the possibility of you in getting an infection of COVID here in the United States until you come back. So next is your COVID negative result, because they will be asking that uh, at the check-in counter when you leave Manila, and they will be asking that upon your arrival here in the States. And then fourth, you have your risk health declaration from the Bureau of Immigration in the Philippines that will be given to you upon check-in on your airline counter. So that's it. But
Wow.
if you're traveling to other states,
Uh-huh.
especially East Coast like New York, New Jersey, even in Hawaii, you have to have the very strict 14-day quarantine period.
Okay, so like the travel insurance, how can you purchase that? Is it comes with a ticket or you have to buy that Philippines government? I mean, how much?
Okay. When you have your ticket, you actually have the option to choose an insurance, but that's separate. They will be asking a particular travel and health insurance covering COVID infections. So that's different. You can purchase that anywhere. You just have to look online. I got mine from Star Insurance Incorporated. So mainly they provide travel insurance going to the States and the European countries. So that's very easy. You just have to search on travel insurance with COVID provisions. So that depends. The cost normally depends how long you will stay. Like for me, less than 2 weeks, it costs around 2,500 pesos or $50. But if you're staying longer, it goes up. So it's a very good insurance. It doesn't only cover your health in case you get infection. It also covers your trip delays. For example, your flight gets canceled because of COVID infection. If there's anyone on board who's infected, so that's covered. Then you have your lost luggage insurance also, and then trip cancellation. So trip delays, so you get paid by the hour. So that's actually a very good option.
So how much actually is the coverage for example, the hospitalization? How much it was like $1 million or
My coverage is 2.5 million pesos or
so that's gonna be
$50,000.
yeah.
Yes.
So that's all about it. And then, so what happened? You have those 72 hours COVID test, right? When you arrive
Yes.
to US, it must be 72 hours. But what about in going back? Is
Yes.
there a certain time, like how many days you can stay in that 72 hours COVID test?
Okay. The requirements I mentioned earlier was just actually outbound, going out of the Philippines. But when you come back, there's another set of requirements that you have to follow. First, you have to have your hotel booking for 3 days minimum, and then
That's going back to Manila, right?
going back to Manila. And then upon landing, you will immediately get tested, which you have to pay 4,000 pesos. That's the complete PCR full test. And then you go straight to your hotel. You will get the result within 24 to 48 hours. If you're negative, you're free to go on the third day. But if you're positive, you have to stay and pay for the entire duration.
Okay, so like for example, you are from the Philippines, right? When you arrive there, you have to have a test for and then go to the hotel for 3 days. Then
Yes.
if it's continued, you have a COVID, for example, COVID positive, they're gonna let you stay for another 14 days, right? So why not the Philippine government let you stay because you live there, quarantine to your house, like
Yes.
it should be. I mean, there's no way like that, right?
No.
You have to be in a certain hotel
Yes.
according to the list what the government
Yes.
tells you,
With
right?
accredited hotels.
Wow.
Yes. If you're asymptomatic, which you don't have any symptoms, but you tested positive, you stay at the hotel. But if you have symptoms, you go straight to the hospital.
Okay, so like people from the Philippines who travel to US have to pay the COVID test, which is coming here, how much it costs? Let's say 4,000 pesos, right?
Yes.
The 72 hours, and then the travel insurance is another 4-5. So it's like
Yes.
about 8, and then coming back another again, going back
Yes.
to Manila, another 4,000. So 12,000 plus the hotel.
Yes.
Let's say the hotel for 3 days, right? 5,000 each, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
15, right? Plus 14. How much it will cost to a person to travel?
Yes.
So there's a lot of money. Look like it's like almost plain fare.
So by estimate, if you're healthy and you tested negative when you come back, be prepared, to add an additional $600 or 30,000 pesos, assuming you're healthy. But if you're not, if you get infected when you come back,
So
The more.
more or less maybe like $2,000 US dollars. Plus of course you have plus the hospitalization, for example, right?
yes,
So but the only good thing is like coming from Philippines to California. California there's no quarantine as long as
yes, that's the good news. Check your state destination, like in California. When I presented my negative result, I was actually free to go, so there was no quarantine. If you forget, for example, your COVID requirements, there's an outright immediate testing center in LAX at the airport,
How
which
much
you have
it
to
will
pay for
cost?
$220. Yes, if you tested positive, that's the time you will be quarantined. But if you're negative, you're free to go.
Yeah, but thing is that you can't even fly, right?
Yes.
I mean, Philippine,
But in
the
Manila,
airport, they will stop you not to let you into the.
yes,
unless
in
you have
Manila,
that.
you can't get to your plane if you don't have that result. There was a passenger when I was checking in who forgot her COVID result at home, so they didn't allow her to board. So it's either she waits for someone to bring the result to the airport or rebook her flight.
Wow. But in the other states like Texas, as you mentioned,
Yes.
Texas,
New York, Hawaii,
New Jersey,
automatic. Even if you have your negative result, you will be quarantined for 14
for
days.
14 days with your own
Yes.
expense, right? But in California, it's free to go
Yes.
as long as you have the 72 hours.
Yes.
But it's not as easy because you have to have, for example, just have $2,000 extra or more, just in case if there's there's anything circumstances like. So that's all for now, guys. I hope it helps because a lot of people ask Matt, like,
Yes.
how did you get here?
I was able to escape Manila. Well, surprisingly, when I arrived at LAX airport, there were very few Asians, especially in the Philippines, going to the States. Maybe because they don't know, or maybe because they're afraid. It was mostly European who I was with at the airport.
Yeah, as you see, I mean, we've been to Lake Tahoe, guys. We've been to Reno. I mean, as what you heard about the news that California have a lot of COVID, and I think you can see the difference, like how's the social distancing. So we're
Yes.
very careful, as Matt can tell you.
Yes, everyone. Well, I was surprised because what we
Sanitize
hear
also,
from
yeah.
the news is that it's worse in the States. They have the highest number of infection. But from my experience, people here in California actually follow the rules. So you cannot enter an establishment without your mask. There were hand sanitizers
Everywhere.
all over. And yeah, people are not getting close to each other. So it's probably really depends on the person how they protect themselves. If they're just careful, I mean, it's not a problem at all. So
Alright, guys, I hope this will help because like one of my cousin asked me if there's a quarantine to travel to US from the Philippines. I said no because her
no,
smart.
there's none.
Yeah. So I hope this guys, can,
Yeah.
especially Thanksgiving, a lot of Filipino love to come to California. So you guys are free to go. as long as you follow the direction what Matt just
Yes.
had given to you guys. Okay, I hope this helped. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you,
Thank
Matt.
you.
Bye bye. See you guys.